Welcome to part 6 of Jane's Brain Yoga. We're going to have a little talk about some of the resources that I've used to create the Brain Yoga, plus some things that are readily available in all of your lives every day. So combined with just choosing to do one or two of the postures or asana from these parts 1 to 5 that I have shared with you. If you just did a little every day, 5 minutes or 10 minutes of some balanced postures or some symmetrical postures or the asymmetrical postures, then you're doing something good for your brain. The balanced postures are, a lot of that work and research came from something called the Learning Breakthrough Program. It's a fabulous program, and it's all about how the whole brain responds when we stimulate the vestibular organs, which are in the base of the brain, and affect our balance. A number of years ago, I got involved with the Dana Foundation, who promote Brain Awareness Week every year, and for at least the last 3 years in Whangarei, I've been teaching Brain Yoga. Prior to that, I was doing Brain Awareness Week activities in the schools that I taught in. Some of the research that I've done has led me through to the wonderful work done by the Denisons, which is Brain Gym, and it's fantastic. And whether they ever researched yoga or not, I'm not too sure. However, yoga and Brain Gym are very, very intimately related when you start looking at the postures and the theories that underpin those postures. I also belong to the New Zealand Neurological Society or Foundation. They do fantastic research on brain health, and brain health is something that is very, very important these days. We live in a society that's rapidly aging. The baby boomers are going to be geriatrics soon, and brain health, and particularly brain health of the elderly, is really important. But just understanding the brain is absolutely pioneering in terms of it being referred to as the last frontier inside of our bodies for medical science to explore and to understand. A book I've been reading lately is called The Brain That Changes Itself by Norman Doidge, MD, and it's a fascinating journey about what's happening in cutting-edge technology and medical science regarding the brain. I talk about water a lot. If you get, again, this is from a Dr. Bhatmanjali, you can find him on the internet. He is passionate about what water can do for you. Another book that I use a lot in my yoga therapy is a book called Manage Your Pain. This book is really important because pain actually is our nervous system's reaction and its communication with the brain. So when we understand our brain a little bit better, we can understand pain, and there is a lot of ways in which yoga can work, because yoga works directly into the nervous system, and it can affect the way you deal with both acute but probably more importantly chronic pain. There are two other people who I really wish to acknowledge because of the fantastic work that they do in the world in yoga. I like their yoga because it's accessible to all people. It's not about exaggerated asana, which admittedly are fun to do and explore, but it's about coming to yoga for that union of the self, becoming intimate with oneself, and then being able to live a full and rich life. The first person is Mark Whitwell, and he's got this DVD here, Real Yoga for Real People. And one of the things I love about Mark's work is that he always links breathing in every single thing that you do. He brings yoga to real people, to everyday people, not people who are incredibly flexible. He says here, do you need to be flexible to do yoga? How can you fit yoga into your busy life? And what is the point of all of those poses anyway? I know from listening to Mark and being with him and having him as a teacher that I can answer those questions. If you want to answer those questions yourself, this is a really good place to start. The other one is this one here with a person called Jay Brown. He is from, I believe, New York, and his video here is titled Life Hurts, This Helps. Again, he has some fantastic tracks working with breath and very, very simple postures that you will find can absolutely change your life. Throughout the last few sessions I have been playing some music, and this music is the harmonics that resonate with various chakras. This music, colour, various vibrations all affect the brain and the way the brain reacts to the situations around it. So today we're focusing in on the heart chakra, the chakra of compassion and love and kindness. And the reason why I wanted this harmonic to be playing today is because I want you to listen to this message with love and kindness and compassion. First to yourself, and then when you start to understand and be really loving toward yourself, be forgiving, be kind, be patient, and listen to your body. It knows and it's trying to communicate to you all the time. Then you can start really practicing it with other people. I'm going to go through some of the asana that we did this week, and I'm going to share them with you in modified forms. We started the week standing and working through the soles of the feet. Now, if you are not able to stand up, then you can come and you can sit on something like this. What's important is that you have a 90-degree angle here, a 90-degree angle here, and a 90-degree angle here. And you can start to work through the feet, rolling onto the sides, the insides, up on the toes, and back. Then you can start linking the movements of the arms up and down. This movement is done with the breath. So we might be standing on tiptoes and breathing in and out. Lowering the heels onto the sides, breathing in and out. And coming back onto the soles, onto the heels, breathing in and out, and lowering the feet back down onto the insides of the feet, breathing in and out. we added some twists when we were doing that. So we were breathing up and twisting, coming back to the front and twisting, and then going down and breathing out. You can do this with your feet up, you can do it with the feet on the side, you can do it with the heels up, you can do it with the feet rolled inwards. And each time, come back to the feet, feeling them on the floor. Now, if you're in such a way that you're incapacitated and you can't get out of bed, then there is a number of ways that we can do this. If you've got a friend who can hold your feet just so that you can feel their hands against your feet, you can push your toes against their hands, you can push your heels against their hands, you can roll the feet onto the outside, roll them onto the inside. Or if you've got a strip of board, they can hold the board, like we used to have a headboard and a footboard on beds. Modern beds don't often have these, but if you have something that you can use that on, then you can push the board up against your feet or slide your body down the bed so that you're pushing against the footboard and pushing the toes up, onto the sides, onto the heels and back. And then you can start incorporating the movements with your arms. The arms do not have to go all the way up. If you're lying flat down, you may find it easier to bring the arms up in front and stretch the fingers up towards the ceiling, which I'll show you again in a moment. The other thing is that as you're doing each of these asana, if you want to, you can use some little chant, such as the chant. As you're doing this, you're starting to use different parts of your body. The vibration in itself is very good for stimulating the brain, but you're also using your ability to make a sound, your ability to hear a sound, at the same time as you are moving your feet up to the sides, back, at the same time as you're moving your arms. Again, add on to this that drishti point that we focused on. So it might be something like this, and I'm focusing again on that hibiscus flower that I talked about in the earlier series. So, coming up on the toes. Again, you can do this, all of that, using the using the drishti point, using your breathing and moving the feet in the seated position. You can also do it in a lying position, as I'm going to demonstrate for you. pointing the toes. Om. Rolling onto the outsides of my feet. Om. Pointing the heels, so I'm flexing my toes back. Om. And onto the insides. Om. On the ceiling, you can place something if you're bed bound to use as a drishti point for focus. The second part of the work that we did was the mirror work, where we were really focusing on making each side of our body as even as possible. And again, from a seated position, you can do that. So you can have your feet here and your hands here. Try and feel like the body is balanced, and then step the feet apart, and then apart a little further, and then maybe fully apart. And then you can start to move the hands so that when your feet are here, your hands are here, and then here. And again, this is linked with your breath. So you're breathing in, and out. Remember too, we were talking about the peripheral vision, so that when you're lifting the hands up, you can see them at the corner of the eyes. And I moved my fingers so I could actually detect the movement as I was doing it. So again, we've got this, we are symmetrical. So we're breathing in, moving the fingers, chanting Om, focused. This time our drishti is on the fingers moving. Om. Stepping it apart a bit further. Om. And further. Om. And again, with this mirror thing, we did the writing where we had both hands and I wrote my name, but I suggested you should write your name. And of course you can do this while you're sitting. And if you do it and you say the letters of the name at the same time, or chant them. So whatever you're doing, you can do it in the seated position. And again, we can come back down to the floor. You're lying in bed, or maybe you're just a little bit tired, and you can raise the arms up. And again, we can add the ums to this. My fingers. Take my legs apart. Take my legs further apart. I'm maintaining the symmetry. Bring them back together, and again we can write. I'm drinking chamomile tea. I used to love coffee, in fact I still do, but I don't drink it any longer. I learned what coffee or caffeine does for your brain, and it really disturbs your brain. A brain on caffeine is not happy, and going through caffeine withdrawals is very hard too. And now I tend to drink herbal teas or water. Herbal tea, such as the one I'm drinking, which is chamomile tea, has no caffeine in it, and it is chamomile tea is known for its calming effects. So we're going to just move on a little bit here. We did some breathing exercises, and those breathing exercises were done with what was called the Ha breath, and we did it through lion pose, and we also did a bee breath. We did some alternate nostril breathing. Now, you can do all of that while sitting in a chair. These points here are acupressure points that are on meridians that directly link to specific parts of your brain. So you can massage these points as you're doing your breath to add the benefit of the communication from one hemisphere to the other. You can cross over and add this, so you can breathe in, or if you're doing bee breath, you can do the same thing, cross them over, massage. And of course, the alternate nostril breathing, where we're crossing our arms and blocking off one nostril whilst we breathe through the other one. You can do this while you're seated. In, out through the right nostril and in through the right. Out through the left and in through the left. Out through the right and in through the right. Out through the left and so on. Same with the drishti points, the focus, keeping the eyes whilst I'm seated here, keeping my eyes focused on one point. I can turn and still keep my eyes focused and turn and still keep my eyes focused. My eyes haven't changed position, just my head has. And the one where I said we can stare at something until we feel the absolute need to close our eyes. And when we close our eyes, what we try to do is hold the image of that thing in our mind's eye, our third eye chakra. So at the moment, I'm staring straight ahead. Again, I'm staring at that image. All of these can be done seated, and they can just as easily be done lying down. We can lie down, cross our arms, do our ha breath. Or our me breath. Or the alternate nostril breath, breathing in through the left, out through the right, in through the right, out through the left, in through the left, out through the right, and so on. In fact, often in the mornings when I wake up, I will do some of these exercises before I get out of bed. And sometimes I'll do them lying in my bed, sometimes I do them seated on the side of my bed. Again, with the drishti point, if you're lying down in bed, focus on something above you on the ceiling, and then turn the head one way, keeping the eyes on that thing. Turn the head the other way. Take the head down and back as far as you can go. Just keeping your eyes focused on that. And again, you can use that as a drishti point to hold in the mind's eye. Stare at it until you can no longer keep your eyes open. coming back to it. These eye exercises are something that you can do for quite a few minutes at a time. We also did some shapes, and we did it through chair pose. Some of the shapes we did, we breathed shapes, breathing in, hold, out, in, hold, out, in, hold, out, or circles, in, out, in, out, and the lazy daisies, starting with the midpoint, in, out, or you can do them horizontally, in, out. Again, these can be done lying down. Breathing in for triangles. Hold, out. In, hold, out. Or circles. In, out. In, out. And our lazy daisy is starting from the midpoint. In, out. Or horizontally, in, out. And in fact, we did exactly this in part 5, where we were lying on the floor and we made a mandala in the sky with our daisies. Again, when we came to our asymmetrical stretches, we can do these seated, stretching up, and crossing our legs over, just gently letting the body come down, and breathe up and out and down. Again, we can take this back down to the floor, breathing in diagonally, and crossing our legs over. There are some asana that are not so easy to do from a seated position or from in bed. So you don't have to do those ones, but you can modify most of the postures that we've talked about. Some of the things that you can do in your bed though are these pressure points where we talked about the solar plexus and this pressure point here, and we also talked about the tailbone and this pressure point here. The tailbone links up with the sacral chakra, and this one links up with our brain, and the communication between the base of our spine and our brain is very important, because that's where our nervous system runs. So you can do that seated. You can also do those sorts of postures lying down like this. Massaging into those points, lifting the energy away, changing the points so that you're massaging into the crown. And if you are able, you can massage here and here at the same time. There are, however, some asymmetrical postures that we can do seated, such as triangle pose, if we step our legs a little bit apart, stretch up, move over and down. Breathe up, over and down. Breathe up and over. Pyramid pose. Again, we're in much the same position. Breathe up and down. Breathe up and down. Some of the warrior poses. Again, you might want to stretch one leg out and have the other leg bent, and warrior. Change it over, bend this leg, stretch that one out. And the focus with these asymmetrical postures is on the back of the body, and you get a real sense of that when you're sitting down. A lunge, taking one leg forward, lifting the arms up, and coming down if you want to. Stretching one arm up and back down, feeling the back of the body, the back of the arms. And again, in that lunge position, we'd go to the other side, so step that one out and we come up and down, and this time stretch up to the other side and back. Again, from the lunge position, we can lean back and come back. I'm putting my hands behind me, I'm using my arms to support me, and change to the other leg, breathing back. Throughout all of these, you need to be sitting in a flat chair, not a chair that scoops down. You want your hips and your thighs to be at about the same place. Now those postures that I just did then are not going to be something that you can easily do in bed. However, there are some things that you can do in bed. You can stretch through the sides. Bring one leg up and stretch up. And down. Hold that, stretch up. And down. Release it and do the other leg. all the postures that we did on the floor, that last part of the series, the starfish and the rocking and things like that, obviously they're ones that you can easily do in bed, but they're also ones that you can do seated. Our starfish, using our body to cross over. Again, from our seated position, what we did in the bed, on the floor in the last one, you can do in the bed, and that was this posture where we held the toe and stretched it out. If you can't reach your toes, just hold under here and lift this leg up. Our balanced postures are not ones that we can so easily do lying in bed or on the floor, but even simply like lying down and lifting one leg off of the bed and stretching it out as much as possible, or on the floor, again, lifting one leg off and stretching it out as much as possible, is just ever so slightly changing your centre of balance. Some simple things that we can do in our life, apart from the things that I've already talked about, are just changing it around the way we do things. If you do cross your legs, and you normally cross them this way, then try crossing them that way. If you're right-handed like I am, and you brush your teeth with your right hand like I do, try brushing it with your left hand. At the same time as you do that, cross your legs and stand there brushing your teeth, or if you're doing it sitting down. These are things that you can easily do. Just write the alphabet out once every now and again, or the numbers from 1 to 10 with the hand you don't use. In my case it would be my left hand. I can write now reasonably well with my left hand because I practice writing with my left hand. Picking up little things that are not going to be broken should you drop them. You might find that you're a bit more clumsy with your left side. If you normally start walking up the stairs using your right foot, start leading with your left foot. These are just simple little things that once you become aware of, they're things that you can change. There's lots and lots of brain games that you can do that are on the internet, but they're all around you. Just simple games of concentration, like children do with a pack of cards. These are very good things for you to do. Reading words backwards, and it can be fun. Scrabble. Games like that are very good for your brain. There are some fabulous courses on the internet through an organisation called Coursera, and you can access free university courses from prestigious universities such as Duke University and the University of Wisconsin. There's also other universities, MIT, Harvard, UCLA, and many others. University of Colorado, University of Toronto. These are places that I have done some of my brain studies on. They focus mostly on the functioning of the brain and thinking and that aspect of the brain. if you want to understand a little bit more about brain, the actual physical brain, then there is courses in places like Allison that talk about the actual physical organ of the brain. Your brain is an awesome organ. It is the thing that facilitates you doing everything that you do. One last thing that I want to give you before I leave today is the benefit of simply smiling. When you smile, the physiological reaction of certain muscles in your face connects with your brain. I love, it's written somewhere that your face is the brain's interface with the world. So your face is the face of your brain. Smile, and these muscles that you're using affect something in your brain that causes it to release wonderful feel-good hormones. These feel-good hormones literally flood through every cell of your body when this happens. So along with drinking water and avoiding caffeine and avoiding sugar and avoiding gluten, eating lots of Brazil nuts and walnuts and ginkgo nuts, drinking chamomile tea, ginkgo tea, etc., eating eggs, these kinds of things, taking omega oils are all very good for your brain, but so is the simple act of smiling. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. There is one more session because this is a week-long series. That session is purely on relaxing and just spending some time lying down, relaxing. Thank you very much.